This is Newcap News with Michaela Henshaw.
City Council has approved a new policy regarding the Saskatchewan Lotteries Community Grant Program. It directs the Family and Community Support Services Advisory Committee to give recommendations on the grant program allocations. This gives community members say on what to do with funding for sports, culture, and reaction.
We thought it was appropriate that the advisory committee for the FCSS grants would be a perfect fit to also kind of be the subjective look at how we distribute the Saskatchewan Lotteries grants as well.
This saves having to create separate groups and allow the committee to work with funding from both provinces.
We don't want to recreate the wheel twice. We don't need two committees. We have one committee of individuals across the city. We have a department at the city that deals with it. So it was just bringing it all together.
This may require changes to existing policies or bylaws. Well, Council also approved a new emergency management bylaw. It requires establishing administrative committees and development of plans to deal with an emergency event. This stays in line with updates to the Alberta Emergency Management Act, which is in effect throughout the area.
We follow, in this case, the Alberta Emergency Measures Organization's direction. So that's why it will follow, and that will apply across the entire city.
And Alberta says this was long overdue, with the last update having come 5 years ago.
Some bylaws can simply go a long time. Other bylaws need much more regular attention, and this one came across that it definitely needed a little attention, and that's what it was receiving.
The bylaw also defines an annual reporting requirements on the status of Lloydminster's emergency preparedness.
This is Newcap weather.
Hello everyone. Even as we look to the east, we see what's happening in the Maritimes and along the eastern seaboard. We look to the west, showers in Vancouver and snowfall warnings for some parts of southern Alberta, including the city of Calgary. So let's have a look at some of our numbers, which lots of blue skies and sunshine, recovering from -13 that felt like -19 earlier this morning. -1 is where we're sitting at with east and southeasterly winds at about 30 kilometers per hour. I expect the winds to pick up with this system. That area in red, it's all snowfall warnings coming off the BC-Alberta border and into southern Alberta. The closest is probably getting to our areas, maybe just knocking on the door of Camrose. Other numbers, 7 in Cold Lake, 0. It's the middle of March we're coming up on, mind you, about 5 days away from spring. 0 in the Battlefords with lots of sunshine. And as we look around, a -2 in Edmonton, 6 in Lac La Biche, 3 in Bonnyville and Isle Cross, 2 in Green Lake, 4 in Meadow Lake, 0 in St. Walburg, -2 in Maidstone, +1 in Wainwright and Vegreville areas. And let's look to the south there, because this has implications for travel along the QE2 and the Trans-Canada tomorrow and going into Friday. 13 in Banff, 2 in Calgary with those snowfall warnings there. Contrast that to 3 in Swift Current, 1 in Regina. And mind you, the front end of this system, so to speak, has a band of freezing rain stretching from Swift Current at some point tomorrow, heading off to southern parts of Saskatchewan. We'll bring more details on all of this later in the show.
When you see news happening, let us know. Grab your phone and hit record and become part of the Newcap News team. It could make you $100 richer. If you capture news happening, drop us an email at tvnews@newcap.ca.
Well, she is a lifelong champion of animal handling systems. An early setback in life did not deter her from finding her passion. Gerard Lampow sits down with Temple Grandin.
Well, there's two pioneers of the low-stress handling. They're Bud Williams and Dylan Biggs. And he's done some amazing things. I've heard about him getting the bull to go into the trailer with no handling facility.
Dr. Temple Grandin says the research shows that stockmanship and gentle handling of animals will give you more productive animals. She describes herself as a visual thinker and teaches her students to be observant.
If the bull even looked at the trailer, he backed off out of the flight zone. In other words, you reward the animal for even doing the smallest behavior that you want. So if you want to teach a steer to lead, he even leans forward, let up on the lead rope.
The world needs all kinds of minds. Diagnosed with autism at the age of 2, that has not stopped Temple Grandin from becoming a leading voice for livestock behavior and handling, including the design of livestock facilities.
When I first started in the early 70s, cattle handling was absolutely atrocious. Electric prods on every single animal. And I'm really pleased to say handling has improved. I've done a tremendous amount of work at the meatpacking plants.
Grandin says the U.S. Cattle Association has also been putting greater emphasis on beef quality assurance. She adds, in handling cattle, you need to calm down.
Screaming at cattle has intent. They know you are screaming at them, where just miscellaneous machinery noise does not have intent.
Grandin has developed numerous resources and design handling facilities which can be found on her website. Producers across the Lakeland region came away with a wealth of information.
Temple Grandin basically will help improve the way you maneuver your livestock to reduce the stress on both you and your animals.
Gerard Lampow, Newcap News.
Well, the Vic Juba Theatre will see a story familiar to most be brought to life this week. Here's Ryan Craig with more.
The first full dress rehearsal of Lion King Jr. with full makeup, props, and mics took place on Tuesday, just 2 days before the curtains open.
It's pretty crazy. Today was the first day for makeup, so we get all our makeup and our costumes and spray our hair to like rock hard.
Dress rehearsals are pretty crazy and chaotic because everybody's trying to find their outfits and then you have to get your makeup done too. So there's like people are running around.
They always get really excited when they get to perform on the big stage. I think it gives them a chance to be stars, and they put a lot of hard work into it. There's been hours of rehearsal and learning lines and learning music. I think they enjoy every aspect of it.
This interpretation of the story includes the classic songs seen in the movie, but this version also has its own unique music for the cast to learn.
But what's really cool about the Broadway version is they did add in some of these ensemble numbers, and they were ones that actually use African language. So we actually had to learn how to pronounce the words properly and even what they meant.
You don't learn listening to just the movie. So it's really cool to learn it in a different language and all the harmonies and things like that.
With the cast practicing and rehearsing since September, they are confident that the crowd will be pleased with the show.
Well, I think it's going to be a really cool performance and the audience is going to expect it's just going to be really awesome.
I think it will be a really good show and we put a lot of work into it. I think it will be one of the best shows we've done.
Ryan Craig, Newcap News.
Well, the Lloydminster Community has a chance to better understand Indigenous culture as Lakeland College hosts Indigenous Awareness Week.
It is the true identity of Indigenous people that we are after, and not the stereotype that many people believe. Once again, it's through awareness that we will convey the message of who Indigenous people truly are.
This is the second year the college has recognized the culture in this way, with growing support for reconciliation from the community.
There's been really good support from the community, starting with the Lloydminster Public School Division, as well as the surrounding groups, such as the Lloyd Friendship Center.
Indigenous Awareness Week continues tomorrow with a powwow presentation and a round dance, and concludes Friday with an arts and crafts sale at the college. Well, thanks to the Alberta Nutrition Grant, all of these students at Jack Kemp Community School receive a balanced breakfast 5 days a week. As we see in this week's Beyond the Classroom, the program not only helps students learn, but it's also helping combat a stigma. Every day, the nutrition support worker at Jack Kemp makes a balanced breakfast by incorporating something from each food group, and then it's delivered to each classroom.
We pick foods from the Pick Most Often, which include lean proteins, fruits, vegetables, dairy, things like that.
As part of the grant, the school offers an educational component where students learn about making healthy choices and how it impacts their learning.
It helps you focus and it's healthy for your body.
The school is able to go beyond just providing healthy food options. They also provide healthy cooking classes for students and their families.
So it gives them an opportunity to try foods that they may not have had an opportunity to try before. And you know what? They are making better choices too. It's given them the chance to recognize what is a healthier food choice, and that's been really positive to see.
While all LPSD schools offer a breakfast program for students that require it, the grant at Jack Kemp allows the program to be universal, eliminating any shame a student may feel.
It's helping the kids that didn't eat breakfast or didn't bring snacks.
It takes the stigma away because all of our students have an opportunity to partake in the program.
This is Newcap Sports.
Rustlers sports are winding down for the year, and this past weekend, 2 of Lakeland's teams took part in the championships. Here's to discuss are Lance Phillips and Chris King from the Gloves Are Off.
Thank you very much. We've got Tiger Woods, we have Odell Beckham Jr., Blue Jays, Alexander Ovechkin, but we're going to hit on a couple of topics right now that are local, that are Rustlers, because we love our Rustlers, we love college athletics. Let's start with the women's volleyball team who got a bronze this past weekend in the CCAA championships. Kinger, is it a disappointment that they got bronze? Should they have gotten the gold?
Not a disappointment. I would have loved to see them play VIU in the finals. Yes, VIU in the finals.
They didn't play their best against VIU in the gold semi, but had they played like they played against Humber against VIU, that would have been interesting to see.
Yeah, and realistically, if you look at it, okay, they didn't play great in the semifinal game, but they played pretty good volleyball at the end of the tournament. Those were probably the 2 best teams. That semifinal essentially was the final.
As soon as the pressure was gone of having to repeat, it changed everything for them. And this is not a disappointment at all. I mean, to be ranked 3rd best in the country, that's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable accomplishment for a school of 1,200.
It's an awesome achievement, and I think that was the thing the year before. They had no pressure. They achieved their goal, and now they'll have a chance again.
They were the underdogs. ACAC Futsal Championships also went on this weekend, moved from 4 teams to 8. Do you like where this is going? Do you think this has a chance to overtake soccer in ACAC and college sports?
Yeah, first time hosting, I'm really impressed at how this sport's grown. From 4 to 8, they're talking about 10 next year. They're talking about multiple tournament format again. I think what we're looking at is this will really extend the soccer players and keep them around on campus, and it's really exciting stuff to watch.
It is exciting stuff, and that's you made a great point there, because I know that soccer players there have the tough time keeping soccer players around. So the idea of having 2 sports, and this one now, instead of it just being 4 teams and you're kind of always in it, now it's going to get to the point where, hey, we got to win our way into this thing, right? Yeah. And it puts more emphasis on teams maybe to be better. I like it. I think it can only mean good things in the future for futsal, and I can see it being maybe a powerhouse in Canadian college athletics moving forward because of the as exciting as it is.
It's fun to watch, yeah.
It certainly is fun to watch. All that and more on the Gloves Are Off tonight at 7 o'clock.
This is Newcap weather with Gerard Lampow.
Welcome back, everyone. So what we're seeing out to the west and southwest of us, showers in Vancouver at various points during the day. That's the tail end of the system. The front end may have a band of freezing rain that could stretch basically from areas like Swift Current down to Estevan. But if you have travels to southern Alberta, the city of Calgary is under snowfall warning, and it could have implications both for the Trans-Canada and for the QE2 at various points tomorrow and going into Friday. So let's put this into motion here and see what we are dealing with as this ridge of the jet stream continues to make its trek across the region and heading further east there. There it goes finally. Seeing where the precipitation will land up. This is tomorrow afternoon there. This is stopping at 5 o'clock. So this is the band of freezing rain I was talking about. And you can see the possibility for 5, 10, 15 centimeters for some parts of southern Alberta as this thing makes its trek. We may see some of this at various points, maybe Friday, Saturday, into Sunday kind of thing. So we'll have to keep tabs on travel conditions if you're on the move at various points on the weekend. Certainly. Temperature-wise for tomorrow, -3 is possible for ourselves. Marwayne, St. Paul areas, -1 to Edmonton, 0 out to Lac La Biche, a string of 1s for Cold Lake, Pierceland areas, maybe -2 around Wainwright, -1 into Provost, Macklin. For towns off to the northeast, you're seeing the possibility again of some of the warmth mixing down to the surface. +2 in Isla Cross and Green Lake areas, 1 in Meadow Lake, -3 St. Walburg and Maidstone areas. Let's head across the country, stop off in Vancouver. They've pushed up to 12 in this hour. 2 mainly sunny in Edmonton, 6 a similar story in Whitehorse there, mix of sun and cloud in Yellowknife for +1. +1 in Regina for mainly sunny skies, mainly sunny in Winnipeg for -3. Heading to Toronto now, they're at -1 for a mix of sun and cloud there. Overcast in Quebec, also at -1. +2 in Halifax and St. John's, cloudy skies and some ice crystals in the air there for Iqaluit for their -20. So back to the prairies then. Sunny skies in the Battlefords and area for -1, -9 on the overnights to the early hours of the morning. Mainly clear. We're seeing the wind picking up already with the advance of this system, pushing up into the 43k range, and that'll continue to be the pattern come tomorrow, anywhere from 20, 30, 40 kilometers per hour, but increasing cloud cover, yes, and just settling for -5 tomorrow. +7 in Cold Lake, mainly sunny skies, the winds getting up to 30k at the moment, -7 overnight, mainly clear, and then +1 and sunny come tomorrow, anywhere from 11 to 15 kilometers, certainly possible. An gust or two certainly will push towards 20k. Breezy with the system going into the start of the weekend. We're at -1, -8 in the early hours of the morning, that's possible, and then looking for -3 as the daytime high, and we should see a gust or two pushing towards 30k, and that could pick up as we get on into the weekend there. 0 for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but running an odd, let's say 40 to about 50% chance we'll pick up some flurry activity at various points. Some models may also be holding out the outside chance for some freezing rain in there. So hence the reason, keep tabs on conditions, and certainly if you had reasons to want to go to southern Alberta like Calgary and so on, you definitely want to keep tabs on Alberta 511 and those road conditions there. That will change out with 10 to 15 centimeters of snow showers there, and snow times could be heavy. Start of spring, though, is next Tuesday at 10:15 in the morning, aiming for -1 then and +1 Wednesday. Michaela, back to you for Agriculture News.
Well, another program that has benefited from growing forward too is the Saskatchewan crop insurance. And with a new federal framework on the horizon, Gerard Lampow learns about a pilot project which will support producers in the future.
Western Livestock Price Insurance Program has been a pilot project under the Growing Forward 2.
Jody Griffin is the Western Livestock Price Insurance Program Coordinator with Saskatchewan Crop Insurance. The Livestock Price Insurance Program is continuing in April under the new Canadian Agriculture Partnership, or CAP. She says her conversations with some feedlots hint at possible expansion, but this will depend on the ability of Canadian producers to increase cattle production.
There's just so many variables that are out there that, we might have a very good run in the markets as far as profitability goes for all sectors within the livestock industry. But, but then we have these other factors that potentially hinder us from what our next move is going to be, specifically our weather.
The U.S. drought map still shows those conditions extending north into southern Saskatchewan, another reason for insurance.
The Western Livestock Price Insurance Program continues to be an excellent risk management tool for all of our producers to be able to utilize, and that is the beauty of the program, is that it's available for anyone of any size in the cattle industry.
Saskatchewan Crop Insurance has a rainfall program which also has seen increased interest, and forage programs. The closest office in our area is in Turtleford. On the grain side, a deadline is approaching.
Sales comes in March for our grain producers, and our deadline is for March 30th. So the next month for us, for our grain producers and crop insurance, is going to be quite busy.
Gerard Lampow, Newcap News.